guys, and welcome to The Chill, where we have insightful conversations that inform, inspire, and encourage you to chart your path. Today, our guest is a very, very interesting person, mostly because of how he looks. He has a good brain as well, but that's not the focus now. I am accepting applications for anyone who looks like him, by the way, but they're not for me, they're for my friends. In 2015, Chris was the first African to win the Best Negotiation Award in the Young International Mediation Competition in Hong Kong. In 2016, he was a Strathmore University valedictorian. In 2016, he was also a member of the first African team to win the Best Negotiation in the CDRC competition. He is a graduate from Strathmore Law School, and he now works with Anjarwalla, the leading corporate firm in Africa. And turns out this was his dream job. Chris is here to tell us about his journey as a lawyer, as a really young lawyer, as well as how he's been able to win all of these negotiation awards. Chris is one of the very lucky people who've been able to get their dream jobs. Some of us have dreamed to work at KPMG. Until today, we're still dreaming because obviously I'm doing the trail and I'm not there. So he's going to tell us how he was able to land his dream job and what it is like waking up every day and living the dream. So how did you end up at Anjarwalla?
Well, what happened is I first did an internship there for about 2 months. And later on, they called me to apply for the traineeship program. This was about 1 year ago. So we did the interview process. About 4 of us were selected from about 100 applications. And that's where I am today.
What I forgot to mention in the start of the interview that he refused to have coffee with me and he insisted on having water. But other than that, tell us what the interview process is, because a lot of us are from the Mwakenya generation, where we passed all our exams because we cheated through it all. So what is the interview process like?
Okay, well, I hope you're not encouraging that on the show.
Oh, definitely not encouraging it. I'm just aware of what reality is.
So how the process begins is you first do an application. So in the application, you set out your academic qualifications and anything that would set you apart from the rest, your extracurricular activities, and then they call you in for a written interview. Now, they recently increased the degree of hardness of the interview because they have around 5,000 applications. So now they're really trying to streamline that number. Now, once you get past through the written interview, they invite you for the first round of oral interviews. So ideally, you'd have an interview with someone from the talent management department and one of the partners, just to get to know you, to have a feel of where your goals are, what you want to do, and if you and the organization would be a good fit. It's more of a discussion and less of a probing session. And now after that is the third interview where you meet 2 more partners. And they just want to walk you through the culture and the lifestyle that's associated with such a law firm, what would be demanded of you in such a role, and just to help you understand what everyone would expect from you. And if you're successful, they then call you for your training contract.
Is there a particular trait that they are looking for? Because I applied for PwC a few years ago and I got rejected at the first stage, personality. So obviously they didn't like my personality.
Yeah.
So is there something like that with ANK? Is there a type of personality that fits better in the firm?
So the thing about them is you need to have a strong personality and don't change yours to suit anyone else's. So a very unique thing about them is they have a blend of personalities from all across the board. So recently, especially as trainees, we did a psychometric analysis. And we realized that out of about 17 of us, we pretty much have very different personalities. From the secluded introverts to the extroverts who want to meet and talk to everyone, to the people who are really results-oriented, to those who are very empathetic. The thing about them is they want you to bring out your personality. So it's not to subdue what you have, to conform to what you think would work, but to just embrace yours and make it work.
You graduated from Strathmore Law School, and I think with first class honors.
Yes.
Do you think it had a role to play in your getting the position at the firm?
I think it did, but I don't think it was the only thing that mattered. I say that because not everyone would maybe have a first class honors, and that's not to say that they do not fit the role, because what they really look for is that drive, that determination to get things done. So
are there people with second law in the firm?
I think that's a discussion you'd have to have with talent management.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is, everyone there is very smart, and it's a fantastic environment to be in because you're always being challenged. One thing you notice is the moment you walk in, you're really not the smartest person in the room, or the second, or the third, or the fourth. And that's a good thing because you're always challenged to seek higher heights. Yeah.
Okay. So when one decides that I'm trying to work at A&K, and obviously I haven't worked at any law firm, so I don't even know what to expect. What do you think are the key things that stand out in A&K as opposed to other law firms in terms of culture, in terms of people relations, in terms of the work environment?
Well, I think for one, I was pleasantly surprised that they have an open door policy, and it's literally that the doors of the partnership is they're always open. So, and we also use a first name basis. So one of the rules is you can't say you're Mr. Ndegwa or Mrs. Njoroge.
Or
It's
Mr.
really,
Christopher?
yeah, it's really shunned upon. So we talk to your bosses, to people who are junior than you. You all have a first name basis, and that creates a culture of we're all part of one team and a sense of equality. The second thing that I think is very unique about A&K is the ability to engage everyone at the same level, all the way from partner level to senior associate, even down to the intern, and everyone's opinion counts, especially when we're at that point when we're trying to solve a problem. As long as you have the facts to back it up, everyone is willing to listen to you. And I think that's very important, especially for your personal development and just boosting your confidence and knowing that the reason you're there is because you're good enough to become better.
He's starting to sound like a partner at the firm, so we need to find out what your role is at the firm, and then you can also tell us what the career progression looks like for someone who joins.
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, once you get your training contract, you start as a trainee lawyer. And now basically what that means is you're not yet an associate, so they're training you to become an associate. Once you complete your training contract, it's either 2 years or 1.5 years, depending on your circumstances. You will now become an associate, and from there now, really your career progression is as fast as you'd want it to move, and how much effort you're willing to put in. But from there, you'd move on to become a principal associate, a senior associate, and eventually a partner.
What are the three things that you would say are synonymous to working at A&K? And I worked at Citon Investments, and if I had to pick the three things that defined the company,
Yeah.
it was late nights, it was candor, you would be told off like you can't believe it, and it was delivery. You couldn't give stories. If you weren't able to do work because you were sick, just say that you weren't able to do work. The rest of it is a story. So those were the three things for me that describe Citon. What describes A&K in your opinion?
I think the first and the most important is integrity. It's something that has been said over and over again, but I've really seen it with my own eyes. That one, they really vet the clients that they take on, and because in this legal profession, the most valuable thing you have is your reputation, and you guard that with everything that you have. The second, I'd say, is hard work. It's very inspiring because you see your bosses put in the late hours. And that's not to say that it's a prerequisite for you to be in the firm.
Yeah, because I was gonna tell you that.
But it just shows that they're not preaching water and drinking wine. So they show you that it is possible to get things done. And it's not so much as you staying long that matters, but it's you getting the work done. So the people who can get work done in 3 hours, others will take 10 hours. So it's just up to you to manage your time. And I like that they give us that flexibility to manage your time.